And, and I use the term loosely, of course. Day 5 of 58XL Final Assembly Project. We should be wrapping it up today. Not a lot left to do. Push rod tubes, distributor, and clutch release, clutch and primary. Should be a piece of cake. Anyway, let's get rolling. All right, let's shove some releasing rods into the motor. People wonder why the rod is in 4 pieces. And the answer to that is the rod is the throwout bearing. The release worm that sits over here does not rotate. The clutch on the other end rotates a lot. So you have something that's rotating a lot and something that's stationary. Well, the 4 pieces of the rod, each piece loses a little bit of rotation so that the rotating part could meet up with the stationary part. So let's shove some releasing rods into the main shaft. You push on one end and the other end moves. I do put a little chamfer on these rods because there's a couple of steps they got to hop over going through the shaft. There's a timing mark on the clutch hub, a vertical line right there. That line is going to line up with this dot right here. And the reason for that is so that the studs are centered in the holes for the cups and the springs. And I know there are people that will disagree with me, but these dry clutches are the best clutches Harley made for a Sportster. They really, you know, people assume they're always leaking and they're always wet on the inside. I really haven't had a problem with that. They work great if you ask me. And the other reason I like these clutches is they don't need a spring compressor. Okay, the adjustment on the springs is 3/16 of an inch from the top of the shoulder on the cup to the bottom of the spring retainer. And you just go around until you got them all. All right, should all be there. I'm going to go around one more time just to check. Looks good to me. We're ready for the derby cover. Derby cover. They get condensation on the inside and they rust. So I like to prime them to keep them from rusting as long as possible. And then I got a punch that I kind of shaped into a little bit of a chisel. Dull chisel. Just give them a little tap into the slot on the screw. That takes care of that. Spark plugs are out. We're going to install and adjust the push rods. So the way I do it is rotate the engine around until the front intake valve closes. Intake valve is opening, piston's on its way down, intake valve closed. Piston is now on its way up on compression. Stick something in the spark plug hole. Be careful so you don't break whatever it is off in there. And feel for the piston coming up to top dead center on compression. This is where you want to adjust it. Both valves are closed all the way. You can't go wrong. Just making sure the push rods fit. Every once in a while, you got to kind of pop them in over the cups. These, we don't have to. They're good. Little gob of grease each end of the push rod. I put all the corks in ahead of time so I don't forget any. And then this is always handy, some kind of deal with the spring to hold the push rod up out of the way while you're doing your adjusting. Hold the bottom nut. Tighten up the cup. I tighten them until all the play is out of there. And then snug down the lock nut a little bit. Book says spins freely with just a little side play. There's spins freely. And there's just a little side play. And then I'll go ahead and lock this down. And move on to the next one. Same routine, hold the bottom nut. Like I say, I tighten it until you can't spin the push rod, then I'll snug it up a little bit. It's a little snug. I'll loosen the adjuster. Okay, it just spins. Give it a little more. And that's good. We're going to go ahead and lock it down. That should be good. I'm going to go ahead and rotate the engine until we're coming up on compression again and recheck. I got a finger over the spark plug hole. You'll feel it coming up on compression. Same routine, stick a screwdriver or something in the hole. Top dead center. Now let's make sure our adjustment is still good. Perfect. Perfect. Every once in a while, one of the push rods will get hung up on the side of the cup on the rocker arm and it doesn't pop in. And but these all feel good. So these are ready to expand the tube and lock them all down. We're good. All right, if you've been watching my channel, you've heard this rant before. These fucking rocker box oil lines you buy, they're too fucking short. You know, you stick it in the bottom fitting, and look how, you know, it doesn't come anywhere near the top. So you got to just kind of get it just exactly right in there to put seals on it, and then you're only a 1/16 of an inch from it popping out at either end and leaking all over the place. So what we're going to do with these here is we're going to take the upper fitting out. And we're going to drill it to accommodate this piece of tubing here. This is a copper-plated nickel automotive brake line. And we're going to make it so that this tube can pass up through the fitting and then drop down into the bottom fitting and be captured by the fitting, so there's no way it's going to fall out on you or leak. Alright, so I just drill these. Let's put them back in the holes. And of course, these two fittings did my other favorite thing. They bottom out on the hex before the pipe thread end of it gets tight. So I just ran them out to the lathe and I machined off about half of the hex so that I could jam them into the rocker box farther. I love rebuilding the parts, you know. These are brand new, they should fucking work. But you've heard the rant. Alright, so let's jam them in. And of course, now that there's less hex to hang on to, you got to be a little more careful. So I'm using a 6-sided wrench. That's as tight as it needs to be. Alright, so now observe. The oil tube could get shoved up inside the fitting. Okay? I could then pull it down and line it up with the bottom one. And the top one can't fall out. That's what you want. I have, upon occasion, made these out of stainless steel. Stainless steel is very expensive for, a couple of, about 11-inch lengths of 3/16 tube. Way more than you think it would be. The automotive copper plated nickel brake lines are way more cost effective. Same thing on the other one. You can now shove it up into the top fitting, pull it down into the bottom it out, and it can't fall out. Distributor and primary cover. That's it. Polish it up just a little bit. Nice. And we'll part it off. Perfect. Beautiful. Couldn't have asked it to work out any better. So we'll cut these off with the Dremel tool, and distributor will be good to go. Boy, I love these old engines. This stuff is so nice. With the vertical line in the window on the other side of the case, that is the firing position for the front cylinder. And when the front cylinder is at its firing position, the little notch on the point cam should line up with the follower on the points, and this little line should line up over here on this edge. It doesn't quite, but I'm not concerned about that. I think what probably caused this is I bet I got the gear pinned 180 degrees opposite of where it could be on the drive shaft for the points over here. The gear does not have an even number of teeth on it, so if you turn it 180, you're going to be a half a tooth off. And this distance from here to here looks like about a half a tooth. But we're going to leave it be. I don't want to screw it, driving that pin out of there and, having to redo all that. This is good where it is. The book tells you might end up with this not quite lined up. So I'm very happy with this. This is done over here. So the last thing we got to do is put the primary cover on, and this engine will be finished. We're going to give this one a little extra bling.